Okay, it's 6 p.m. I'd like to call this special meeting to order. Mayor Appletoft couldn't be here tonight, so I'll be running the meeting. You guys are stuck with me. While this meeting is being held in person in consideration of ongoing COVID-19 health concerns, we're also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to participate virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of missionks.org. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Audrey, please call roll.
Boltinghouse.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Flora.
Here.
Inman.
Here.
Kring.
Here.
Rothrock.
Here.
Sloshmacher.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Thank you. Since this is a special meeting tonight, we will only be considering the one item listed on our agenda, which is the consideration of a charter ordinance. Ms. Smith, will you please provide us with your report?
Yes, thank you. And Kevin Wempe with Gilmore and Bell is also here this evening in case we have any questions or other things that we want to discuss. But as we talked about last week with the vote to advance the FCIP program forward, and particularly the conversion of our streetlight network to LED streetlights, in order to finance that, we need to consider a charter ordinance which would allow us to exempt ourselves or charter out from underneath the provisions of K.S.A. 14570 and K.S.A. 14571 relating to public improvements and the issuance of general obligation bonds for such purposes. We had passed a similar charter ordinance in 2013, Charter Ordinance 25, when we acquired the streetlight network. We used debt to acquire that system, and so we had to do something similar. But that charter ordinance was very narrowly written and specific to a master capital plan for the acquisition of that streetlight network at that time, and did not include maintenance, and actually terminated at the conclusion of, or when the debt service retires, and that debt will retire in 2023. So we have a few years left on that, but we don't have the flexibility to add the conversion to the LED under that same charter ordinance. Also, as we touched on in our last meeting, this charter ordinance we would recommend and has been drafted to be written a little bit more broadly. I think Mr. Wempe provided some information about the types of improvements that the city has very straightforward statutory authority to use general obligation bonds to finance, that being streets and stormwater. Other types of public improvements like the streetlight network, park improvements, et cetera, that authority is not clearly granted in statutes, or it's granted in different fashions and can require the vote of the public. So by passing a charter ordinance that is in your packet this evening, it gives us the flexibility going forward that if a master capital plan is approved by the city council, you could proceed to debt finance those public improvements identified in the master capital plan under the provisions of the new charter ordinance without requiring a vote of the public. So I think charter ordinances, I think everyone is familiar, they do require a 2/3 majority of the council to pass. And publication is required in the official city newsletter or newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks. Then that basically opens up the potential for a protest or petition period. And then if no petition is filed during a 60-day window, then the ordinance becomes effective 60 days following the second publication. We called the special meeting this evening, I think as we mapped out the timeline at our last meeting, in order to get that clock ticking in that 60-day window to align with getting bond proceeds in place to match up with the improvements that we want to make later this fall, it was important to go ahead and get that started. So I'm happy to try to answer any questions, and I know Mr. Wempe would be as well.
I would entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the city council approve the charter ordinance exempting the city from provisions of K.S.A. 14570 and K.S.A. 14571, and providing substitute and additional provisions to public improvements and the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying for the improvements, which upon passage will supersede and repeal Charter Ordinance number 25.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Audrey, please call roll.
Davis,
Aye.
Schlesmacher,
Aye.
Flora,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Inman. Kring,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Great. Being that we don't have any other business tonight, before we adjourn, I would like to again share with the public that the video from this meeting will be available through a link on our website at missionks.org. I would also mention that if you're participating virtually and you'd like to attend our work session, which begins at 6:30 or probably start in just a few minutes after this, then you'll need to leave this current Zoom meeting and join through another Zoom link, which is also published on our website. There being no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.